Alright, ever since Tower Fantasy has been released, there has been the big talk going around on all of social media. Which is better? Which should I play? Which should I invest my time in? Genshin Impact or Tower of Fantasy? But before we get further into the video, I just want to say, if you guys have been enjoying the content lately, please subscribe to the channel and make sure to turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss out on any daily videos. Okay, so the big question is, should you play Genshin Impact or should you play Tower of Fantasy? And I'm just gonna get straight to the point. My opinion doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're both video games. They're both gacha games. A company that is meant to take your money so you can have more fun. But there are slight differences between the games that make them unique, and we're going to cover those in this video. So before I start with anything, I just want to say, let's start off with the graphics. I notice a lot of people have been complaining about the graphics in Tower of Fantasy compared to Genshin. Yes, Genshin's graphics look amazing. I think they look great. I honestly do. They're vibrant, they're detailed, and they look good. In Tower Fantasies, while they're not all that bad, they still aren't up to par with Genshin Impact's. However, I want to clarify one thing with you guys. This might come to a shock with some of you, but Tower of Fantasy is indeed an MMO. Genshin Impact is not. So of course they're gonna have to dumb down the graphics in some aspects of the game because it's an MMO. They gotta fit in a lot more players on the servers to account for lag. I would rather play a game with worse graphics and no lag than better graphics with lag to where it's just unplayable. Lag in any game is not fun, whether it's an online competitive game, an MMO, even a story game, whatever it is, lag is just annoying. I think us all gamers can at least agree with that. Second of all, Genshin Impact is a solo game, so of course it's gonna have better graphics because it doesn't have to fit in a bunch of people on one server. It's just you. However, Genshin Impact does have slight multiplayer capabilities, but that's where Genshin lacks a lot, is the multiplayer. The multiplayer in Genshin Impact is, in my opinion, trash. But the game's not designed to play multiplayer. It's designed to play by yourself, explore, and have fun and do whatever you want. Really, which game should you play? And honestly, for me, the deciding factor between Genshin Impact and Tower Fantasy is just the content. I am at endgame in Genshin Impact, and everything I do is very easy. I have a lot of maxed out characters. I have a lot of highly timed invested characters on my account. And so when I do the current endgame content, it's very easy. I don't have a challenge, and therefore it's a little bit more boring. And Genshin Impact is known for having dry streaks in its game. It'll come out with a big update, bring in a lot of old people, bring in a lot of new people, do the content, do the Archon story, get the new character, try him out, beef him up, play the game for a little bit, and then nothing. And then nothing again. And we just gotta wait and wait and wait until the next big update. Yeah, it's cool to come out with a couple of other characters, but really, when you're at endgame in Genshin Impact and all they're doing is releasing character after character after character, the excitement and the fun kind of falls off a little bit because you're just doing the same stuff. Now, yes, it's fun to beef up a new character, get him as strong as you possibly can, and just go ham, but at the end of the day, you're doing the same content. You are fighting the same bosses. And while, yeah, Tower Fantasy does feel a lot like Genshin with the world exploration and of course the gacha aspect, wishing for the weapons / characters, but the missions are new. It's a new lore. I should say, for the most of us, it's the start of a new lore, and it's exciting, so that's what I'm going to play. That is what I'm going to spend a lot more time into right now. However, 3.0 in Genshin Impact Sumeru is coming out in the near future. Now, when that releases, you better best believe I'm going to be playing that and making some videos on that. But until then, I'm going to be playing Tower Fantasy because that's where the new, fresh content is. Now, in my opinion, you don't have to pick one game or the other. Now, yes, like I said in the beginning of the video, both games are gacha games. So if you have a lot of money and time spent into, let's say, Genshin Impact, you don't have to dedicate a lot of money into Tower Fantasy. You can just have that as your backup game for when Genshin Impact is in its dry streaks, like it's known for. Then hop back onto Tower Fantasy, play it for a while. You know, it's going to be slower progression, but like I said, it's your backup game. And then when Genshin Impact comes out with a big update, you go back to that and play it. Or if you're never a huge fan of Genshin Impact, or let's just say you are, but you just haven't played it in a long time, but you're heavily invested into Tower Fantasy right now, by all means, just do that. Grind out Tower Fantasy, max everything out, and then once, I'm sure Tower Fantasy is going to have some dry streaks. I'm sure it's going to. There's just no question about it. There are going to be some people out there that put a crazy amount of hours in the game as quick as possible, and they are going to get bored later on. But now we got two, honestly, in my opinion, pretty good, solid game, Genshin Impact and Tower Fantasy. I like them both. It's hard to compare the actual lore and some other things about the games because we obviously are much deeper into Genshin Impact and Tower Fantasy is pretty fresh. So at least with the lore aspect, it's hard because Tower Fantasy has a pretty solid structure right now. It is deep into the game. We have a lot of characters. We have a lot of the lore. We've got a lot of map updates, you know, with the islands and the underground mine. We've gotten a lot of explorational updates, and I'm actually very excited for that to happen in Tower Fantasy. I want to see new world bosses. And of course, the new characters that are going to be coming out, potentially new POIs. You know, I'm excited to see it all. But honestly, like the fact that people are talking about which should you pick, that's just ludicrous. Play them both. Invest in one more than the other, or invest in both however much you want, but go ahead and just play them both. You don't have to choose one or the other. But like I said, for me, I'm going to play where the content is. So right now, Genshin Impact, like I said, is dry. I'm not going to play it right now. There's nothing to do until 3.0 Sumeru. Right now, there's a lot to do in Tower Fantasy. It's fresh. It's new. I'm going to play it. And even when 3.0 comes out, I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of things to do in Tower Fantasy. So I will be playing them both pretty much at the same time. I'll just go back and forth and just have a great time. But in my opinion, overall, they're both really solid games. The characters are fun. The combat is fun in both games. I like the combat in Genshin. I like the Tower Fantasy combat a little bit better, not gonna lie. But there's pros and cons about both games. But in my opinion, they're both super solid. Just play them both and have fun with it. They're video games. They're meant to have fun. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let's see if we can hit 10 likes on this video. It would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time on a brand new video. Peace out.